It's Danny Flexon here for SecondsOut. Delighted to be joined for the first time by Thomas Carty, a heavyweight prospect, I think it's fair to say at this stage. How are you doing?
Good, yeah, 100%. Flew in this morning, so a little bit tired, but looking forward to resting up, eating, and be ready to go for the weigh-in tomorrow. Yeah, fire.
Imagine how Mary McGee feels.
yeah, Jesus, I can only imagine. It was only an hour's flight, but it was just getting up early and stuff like that. So looking forward to resting up and looking forward to tomorrow then. Yeah.
Talking of Mary McGee, she's got a more Irish name than you have.
Yeah. It sounds very Irish, absolutely. Yeah, Thomas Carty. It is an Irish name still, though. Yeah.
Believe you. How did you end up on this big stage? How has it all come together for you?
Bit of a crazy story over the last year, sparring in these different high-profile camps, and ended up in Dillian Whyte's camp. I had already had managerial agreements with somebody else, but we did our best. Obviously, had a conversation with Dillian about going forward. He was managing my career, and he felt like he could really bring a lot to the table for me. So we made the right adjustments, and now I'm managed by Dillian Whyte going forward. So that was about 3 weeks ago. So quick turnaround. Obviously, they're showing how good they are already. Their managerial team, the quick turnaround, they're able to get me out on the card already. You know.
Have you spent much time with Dillian? Did you know him particularly well before the negotiations began?
Just always been a big fan, to be honest with you. I was brought out to his camp there. It would have been 5-6 weeks ago. And that's the first time I've ever met him in person. You know, I spoke to him once or twice online, but in terms of meeting in person, no, 6 weeks ago. And over the last 6 weeks, I've found a really knowledgeable guy, a really good guy, and genuine. You know, out of all the camps I've been to, he probably is the person that I connect with the most. You know, get on really well with him, and he gets me. You know.
You must have made quite an impression on him for him to want to sign you that quickly. What do you think he saw in you, or has he told you perhaps?
He hasn't told me, no, but you know, he's always given me compliments after sparring. Obviously, we did a lot of rounds together. I was the first sparring partner there before anybody else arrived, so we've done a lot of rounds together, and lots of compliments off him in terms of my style, my fundamentals. Yeah, I remember him complimenting particularly of really good footwork and really good boxing basics, you know, which is something that a lot of heavyweights, I think, personally lack. They lack the actual technical side of things, you know. You hear always heavyweights are trying to make up the technical side for what they have in athleticism and stuff, but I have both, you know.
How did you find the camp? Because a lot of people, when they go to Dillian's camp in Portugal, are quite surprised by how tough it can be.
Yeah. Like, I knew Dillian trained hard, but I didn't think he trained as hard as he actually trained. Previously in camps, you tend to get a bit bored because you're training here and there, and you might have sparring one night, nothing the next day. But I did everything that Dillian was doing for his, you know, in preparations for Otto Wallen. So the weeks flew by, you know what I mean. And in terms of how hard the training was, any off days that we had was just spend them dead trying to recover for the next week, you know what I mean. So I was surprised by how hard he actually trains and the pure volume of training that he does, you know.
What about the sparring? What was that experience like?
Sparring was amazing with Dillian. Just to even be in the ring with guys like this, guys that I was fans of and that I would have watched when he fought Joshua that time and the rest of his career. I don't even think, what year did he fight Joshua?
5 years ago now?
5 years ago, yeah. Like, I wouldn't even consider turning pro at that stage, you know what I mean? And to be now sharing the rings with these guys that are the best in the world, it's a great experience, you know.
Do you have to kind of have a word with yourself before you get in the ring with someone like that? Because you have watched him, you have kind of looked up to him, but now you've actually got to try and get some punches against him, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. You have to have a word with yourself. But in saying that, you know, I've spent the last year in these high-profile camps with all these really good fighters, so I know I'm up to it. I know I'm up to the level. It's just obviously then different styles and stuff like that, and considering who Dillian is, the sort of fighter he is, super aggressive guy, big puncher, so you have to have maybe an extra special word with yourself before that, yeah.
Tell us about some of the other camps you've been involved in, other notable names you've sparred.
So it was around this time last year I went to my first one, which was spent 5 weeks with Chisora in preparation for Usyk. From there kicked on to Lawrence Okoli's preparations for Glowacki. That fell through. Got on really well with him over the 5-6 weeks in Kent with Shane McGuigan, so they called me back for the fight when it actually happened after Christmas. From there I went to have my pro debut in May, the end of May, my first fight in Belgium. Then I was in with AJ, went straight from my debut to AJ's camp. From AJ to Filip Hrgovic, and then Hrgovic to now Dillian Whyte, and this is where we're at now, fight number 2.
What's the plan going forward now you've settled with Dillian? What's the kind of plan for your career?
The plan for my career is just, to be honest, we haven't had a talk in terms of what's going to happen immediate in the future, but the plan is definitely to go on and fight for world titles, you know, and win world titles as well. I believe I'm good enough. I believe I have all the attributes about being managed correctly, the right fights at the right time. That's what Dillian said to me. It's all about the right fights at the right time, you know.
And just before we let you go, we always say this to people when they're on the channel for the first time. How can the fans out there find you on social media?
You can find me on Instagram, it's _Thomas Carty, and then just Twitter and Facebook, then it's just Thomas Carty.
Great stuff. Wish you the very best of luck at the weekend and going forward.
Thanks, pal.